Okay, who's going to do the recap today? Valdreth on 12, Torbjorn on 10.
Let me roll.
A -1. Actually, well, you rolled a
You rolled a
1d2.
1d2.
Oh,
So,
Me too.
if you want to do the recap, you're more than welcome to just say, I'll do the recap. Oh, interesting.
there we go.
Pepine, from Torbjorn's perspective, please, the recap.
Last week we started off with an interesting situation with Yule in my face. Torbjorn shrugged him off with a fancy comment about not having 8. Yule then told us to come and find him later, who then disappeared. We then went down into the quarry where we realized that the workers are ethereal images from likely another plane. Not much to be interacted with.
Not just the
After,
workers.
yeah, the auras. Well,
Pretty much everything there.
everything they were carrying, but everything we were interacting with was there. We then decided to just leave the place, where we found an exit somewhere on the perimeter of the quarry, which led us to a sheer cliff at the Green Dream Sea. Here we ate some food, after which we left, following the cliffside going left. Here Torben safely traversed the party through a number of potential dangers until we came across a river that was flowing uphill. Here we encountered Hokos the Djinn, the genie of time, where after fumbling our first wish and using our second wish for some information, we decided to use our last wish to clear our debts with Mary and Yule, after which he transported us back to safety, back to the compound. Upon arriving, Voldred and Lothar completely forgot what had happened since we went through the Mirror Gateway. We brought them back up to speed and we talked over some details with Phineas, who then actually punched our contract card as complete. And we ended up trading a molten gizzard for the freedom of Bjorn, a fake creature. After which we found ourselves back in the material plane. However, Meyerfall was not as we left it. It was currently what appeared to be burned to the ground.
Anyone got anything else they'd like to add?
Lothar remembers, has no idea why it took us so long to just go through a door and then back through the other door. And why everybody's acting like stuff happened.
Ariel is glad that we freed that creature, the Feywild, the large creature that was helping the miners.
I ended up with a pickaxe somehow.
Priorities. And with that joke of a dwarf digging a hole, we return to the still hot, smouldering, ash-filled debris that was once the town of Meyerfall. The smoke fills the air as well as your lungs, the sight you take in, the scorched marks littered all over. Someone roll an investigation roll for me.
Let's see.
Anyone who's attempting to fathom what has happened here. Abnormally high roll for Sir Lothar.
For an investigation.
Indeed.
You might actually notice something this time.
Well, on a 16, and a 15 in tow for Torbran. The two of you spot in various different intervals impact, like impact rounds with indistinguishable but almost undiscernible origin sources. It would almost imply from all around great large impacts of fire, potentially balls of fire. You get this strong sense that this was not natural. A sense of intent as every single building indiscriminately has been removed all the way down to its foundation level, leaving just smouldering ruins of ash.
Torbrin, what did I tell your friend about not guarding their topside operation?
This is peculiar indeed.
I would say with the 16 as well, after passing around, looking through some of the rubble, you do see scorched and charred into the side of the floor, almost like a shadow in a humanoid shape, charred into the floor.
I would like to inspect the humanoid shape to see if I can find the capes had like a metal clip, right?
They did.
To see if I can find something similar among
Make an
the
investigation
humanoid.
roll.
Oh,
I'll
ignore
take
the
this
second
first
one.
one. On a 10, as you're rummaging through, just sort of like running your hand over the shape of it in a little bit of debris and a small pile of ash nearby, you do find a metallic clip, hot to the touch still, and darkened and blackened. But as you rub your large dwarven hands over it, it easily peels off to reveal the gold link clip chain that you have seen and matches a very cloak that you are carrying right now.
He didn't deserve this fate. Lothar,
You'll find that few people ever do.
Have you seen any destruction of this kind before?
Question. Would it be fair to assume that Sir Lothar would have seen the kind of havoc battle mages do?
You would probably say I don't think you've been anywhere to a plane of hell, but this is what you would imagine a battle scene would look like there.
Whatever this is, looks straight out of hell. I've seen battle mages, but not destruction of this level.
How likely would it be to assume that we had something to do with this?
Think the Drake followed us here and destroyed the settlement?
How long were we gone?
That's really hard to tell.
Is there any noticeable change in the season? Like leaves on the trees?
It's currently moonlight, as the moon is a little past halfway in the sky. As you look out from the mountaintop, you can see, casting a wide view as you head towards sort of the edge, the outskirts of what was the boundary to this settlement. You have a wonderful view of a moonlit sea and ocean as you stare westward into the great vast sea of Albon. as your eyes sort of scan the vacant horizon, you can see a small island off, one recognizable to you, Torbrun, having been there previously.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you look more south towards where you would expect to see the Golden Keep Citadel, you too see a smouldering, smoking ruin of stone.
This is not good.
What's not good?
I think the Golden Citadel is sharing the same fate as Meyerfall is.
The golden, the one place on this world still watched over by a greedy god.
Yes.
Should we head over there?
We need to go back. We need to go back now.
And then what, noble knight? What do you expect to change in a city burned to ash?
I expect to find somebody alive or dead and give her her last rites.
Hmm.
I don't care about the city.
Is the what appears to be the Golden City, is that still burning bright, or is it more like a faint glow?
You can see smoke plumes towering up over on the horizon, only visible as the moonlight glances and protrudes and casts a shadow over them. But no lights, no fires, no glows off in the distance. Just smoke plumes.
Hmm. City doesn't seem to be still alight. So either something is still standing, or we're about to find nothing but fresh new soil for trees to grow on.
Given the way the Golden One gives his blessing, I doubt anything's ever going to go there. Even after the world gets torn asunder again and reforged. Just in case, I suggest we drop the bits of Drake that we had. I don't want that thing tracking us while we're on our way back. Besides, if the city's in that state, then that means whatever contracts were active we can consider null. Nobody's going to pay us for anything we do now.
Well, there wasn't a reward for this anyway, was there?
The
Except for the Drake.
the guy who was supposed to pay us for what we did down below right now is obviously not in the condition to open his purse, so
What, you mean Todd? From the guild?
oh, whatever his name was. I mean the bloke up here, or
Oh,
it
yeah.
used to be here.
Healthus?
Alphas.
Whoever this clips belong to. Well,
Well,
I'll take
help
his clip
us
as
on the other
payment.
side. Yeah, this was the Halfus was once we crossed over.
No, he was up
No,
top.
he was here. Same with a bloke named Todd Duskwater, I
Todd
believe.
the squatter, yeah.
The
Okay.
other question is, however, Torbrun, should we go back down and tell your friend that his operation's toast and that he might as well just pack it up?
That
Well,
may
knowing
make us
Phineas,
lose a lot of time.
maybe we should first find out how much time we've actually been gone from this place. Because this destruction doesn't happen overnight.
Oh,
We've been gone for much longer than a day.
depends. You've the Battle of Ruination nearly blew the world up in what, few days worth of fighting?
Correct, but that would still, if this was a day old, that city in the distance would be shining bright red.
Be burning, right? Well, might as well get going then. And he whistles his specific call for Steadfast.
This is to the player. Do you believe Steadfast to be of something of an angelic being, or is he just more of a bound creature?
I would say a little bit of both, I suppose. Like the steed of some sort of a celestial warrior, maybe.
Sure. In which case we shall say your first call goes unanswered. You leave it a moment. And for the first time since you ever learnt to conjure the spell itself, you have to repeat the call. And the second time, trotting around the corner of the cliff face, just from behind where Torbrun was, out from the side of one of the few trees, still standing though in a very charred state. A much older looking stature of your recognizable steed comes into view.
How long were we gone? I approach the steed and gently ruffle his mane.
It is hesitant before, after sniffing and then recognizing your scent, permits you to come closer and reunites.
Sorry.
Does he still have my saddle and bridle?
Roll a d100 for me. I would say your steed has been loyal, ever waiting patiently for a call that it never knew was going to once again happen. And yes, it's been wearing your saddle all this time, though it does look weathered.
I was about to ask, does it look like way, way older?
Like, you've seen aged leather. It goes rather furry, unkept in bad weather. This less so, but it's deteriorated. It's thinner. It's worn.
Torburn,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just me, right?
No,
Steadfast looked younger when we left.
I would like to take a closer look at a tree to see if there's a tree that I might remember the location of, to see if it has grown substantially.
Give me a nature check. Though I will say this is disadvantage, unfortunately, as
30.
you clock several trees that lined the road leading up to Mirefall if you are now collectively heading back down that route the same way. And as you pass one or two, you have this memory, you recall, ducking under one or striding over one, members of the group as you were having your conversation, approaching Mirefall what feels like it was only yesterday. Though it's very hard to gauge, because instead of their vibrant and full of life poses, they are now just stalks of burnt rubble. It seems no natural life has been spared as you look out and realize through the rest of this valley there's no fauna, there's no trees, no greenery, only rock, slate, and a low rolling mist.
There's no telling how long we've been away. But that horse of yours definitely looks like it has seen better days.
I gently pat the steed and climb into the saddle. Well, we should get moving.
Careful, you might break his back.
Oh, trust me, he's carried me in heavier armor.
As the party makes its way back down the winding pass, you can see as you begin your descent that mist that you remember from when you were last here is looming throughout and filling the floor of this valley. Do you wish to proceed through it?
How high is the mist?
You're currently sort of 200-300 feet above on this snake pass that will wind down, if you remember, to the bottom of the valley.
Mhm.
You presume, from memory, the mist fills the entire valley, so it is several hundred feet tall at this point. Last time you experienced this, your vision was 15 feet in front of you, no more.
I don't think there's any way to avoid it and still get to where we're going.
Hmm. I don't
I'd
think
rather
we
lose
have
as
a
little time as
choice.
possible.
Agree.
Okay. So, can I have a marching order, please?
I will go first.
Torbjorn leading the way.
I can go second.
Ariel.
Since I'm on the horse, I'll stick to the side, range a little bit back and forth.
Okay. And Voldreth bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
All right then.
Before we move, I would like, Ariel, would it be possible to guide us with your guiding light? To keep one light
Sure.
ahead of us and one light behind us.
Yeah. I'll create the 4 lights and put one in front of our party, one in the back, and 2 kind of around us. Just we are kind of a beacon in the mist this way, but at least we'll be able to see if anything's coming at us.
Okay. As you cast the lights, when they materialize, the 4 of them swirl in your arms, and just as you're about to give the instruction to go into their placements, they're almost like snuffed out by the smoke. However, you do notice they seem to consume some of the mist with doing so.
Okay.
As you create sort
I
of
can
10 feet worth of space in which you can see in for
okay.
a moment.
I can keep that up. It's a cantrip. I can do it more often and just sort of carve a way for ourselves in front of the mist.
As the snowplow moves forward, keeping the group
Yeah.
having a visible distance of at least 30 feet in front of each other. I would like everybody to roll a perception check, please. It's not a disadvantage because you have increased vision because of this. A 25 for Torbjorn. Wonderful. So Lothar making sense. With the 3.
He's back to normal.
Okay. So Lothar. Yep, it's misty.
Yeah.
Lots on your mind. Though your ears are open, but there's more on your mind at present. Your thoughts take you away from where you presently are. Ariel, what would be going through your head at the moment?
She's just wondering how long it's been. Like she's sort of trying to calculate any sort of like to her, she's thinking of the genie that was a genie of time and sort of blaming it on that, but she's not really sure. Like she's just trying to figure out anything she can to identify how long it's been, but that's why she's distracted.
Very well.
Not that she's extremely good at perceiving in general, so she's used to being like things hitting her in the face before she notices them, so it's no big deal.
Speaking of which, as you sort of stop for a moment, Voldreth walks into you, or puts a hand out to stop himself from doing so. Voldreth, what else is on your mind?
Like, confusion of what happened. Like, did he learn anything about his magic? How did he get the pickaxe? And what's happened to the world?
Indeed. Well, whilst these thoughts are rattling round the heads of your companions, Torbran, at first, bearing in mind the DC to spot this was 25, you hear a whoosh. And for a moment you think, must have been the wind. Then you hear the same sound again. And on the third time, it dawns on you that something that you cannot see flying very high above you is making passes in your general vicinity. Something large, something moving fast.
Ariel, clear the lights. Get close
Them, you
together.
mean? Okay.
We're being tracked.
Something is flying over us. I'm not sure if it's noticed us. Would we be close to a sort of cliffside or mountainside on either side of us?
I would say you've made your way down into the valley itself, so you could either hug one of the walls or you can attempt to follow what you recall as the natural path through this basin.
Everyone get close to the wall. Move slowly. Stay together.
Okay.
Can I have a group stealth roll, please?
Oh.
Everybody in heavy armor.
Oh no!
Is everybody in heavy armor?
I assume Lothar
So
is as
Yeah,
well.
everybody's in heavy
yeah,
armor.
all of us.
Yep.
Oh,
The death
fantastic.
Amazing.
horse.
This one like
So,
a 10 average.
so for the benefit of the
9
listeners,
average.
we have an 8, a 12, a 12, and a 4. Um, I'm actually just going to ask. This hasn't happened before, I don't think. But can this is sort of a DM above table question. This. If a legendary creature is attempting an action to make a perception check, legendary actions and resistances have no way of making you re-roll that, or just succeeding that, is there?
Not unless there's something specific in the creature stat block that says
Right.
that.
It's just quite
Yeah.
simply just it's the roll of the dice. You roll with advantage. You got your silly modifier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, monsters are exactly as written. Just
The
that's
supposed
it.
dragon might also have cookies on his mind.
Um, I'll say this then, for it to make sense in my head, because it will have heard 4 heavy armored units and a horse, but it hasn't found where you are exactly in this mist. As swooping low overhead to the point at which all of you hear this, and passing down through the middle, you feel and see a shadow passing for but a second at almost ground level that sears straight by you and swoops up once more before you hear heavy impact noise. As whatever this creature is, you get the sense has now taken purchase on a rock face as silence once again falls, with the occasional stone echoing as it drops down the mountainside around you all. What are you all doing?
We are
Freezing
not
in place
moving.
for now.
Yeah. We are not moving our feet until we can be sure that that creature, whatever it is gone.
As you listen
Yeah.
quietly, you can hear the sound of guttural, heavy, deep breaths A moment later, the sound of something fast and hard moving colliding with the sound of something piercing the night sky as thunder crackles on the distance. And at that, you hear the beating of wings and another swoosh as overhead this entity begins to make more aerial passes. Can I have everyone make one more stealth roll, please, as a group check?
Oh, the poor heavy armor.
Oh, there we go.
We've got 4, 8, 17,
Wow. And
Fuck.
another 4.
and a 4. Oh, Voldra.
As it's doing his little fly pass,
Mhm.
can I use thaumaturgy to like make a sound 60 feet away from us?
Sure thing. What noise do you make?
The sound of people talking.
Okay. In what language are they speaking?
They shall speak. I think I can speak Draconic, so they will speak Draconic. Yes, Draconic.
Okay.
I'm also going to hearing that sound. I'm going to make a random scream from with minor illusion, from the same direction, just like like freaking out,
Okay.
but like in the same general spot where he did the sound of the draconic people.
As a recognizable Wilhelm scream plays out 60 feet away from you all, as two voices muttering something low under their breaths in Draconic. At first, you feel the tension in the air suddenly becomes electric. And then this damp, slightly cold mist begins to vibrate as a piercing red light becomes visible as the entire mist engulfs and turns vibrant red. As this screech of a roar, as on a pass-by, a jettison of red fire hits the location to which you were making the source of these sounds. It lasts for 6 seconds before the mist once again, as soon as the sound stops, turns white cold. Though the heat in the nearby vicinity is now making itself known.
We need to move.
In which
We-
direction did you make the noise?
Well, as you
Was
you
it
are
ahead
backs
of
to a
us?
wall, you were backs to your wall, so it was just 60 feet away from you, basically, into the mist.
Question for DM.
Sure.
Can I fix silence on myself as the point within range and keep it concentrated as we move?
No, it's on a location, to my understanding.
Right, okay.
So you can keep casting if you wish. But what's
Yeah,
the
but it's not
radius
a
of it?
cantrip.
How
20
exactly
foot radius.
So
how
every,
exactly
Range
does
20
silence
feet.
work? Does
And
it
it stops sound created. No sound can be created or pass through the 20 feet radius sphere.
so someone on the
All right.
outside doesn't hear anything on the inside, and
Okay.
vice versa.
I will nod at Voldrath for bringing up that idea.
It's essentially a muffle.
Yes. I will give Voldrath a sly nod. Silence.
Aye. Little thumbs up.
After you cast this spell,
So I'll initially cast it 20 feet in front of. No, yeah, 20 feet exactly in front of where we're going, so the bubble hits us.
So we can
Okay.
sit also to it.
Okay.
As that hits, or as that becomes active, I will shoot an explosive shot back from where we came, roughly into the sort of valley hill where we went down. Let's see, what is the range on that? Range. Self. That is unlikely. I will use my weapon range, which would be 40 hail of thorn. What is the range on this spell?
It's your ranged attack range because it's the target of
Right.
an attack that. So you have to be able to. You have to be able to attack the creature and then anything within 5 feet of the designated target. So your weapon
Yes.
range, basically.
I will just shoot, which would be then 40 yards, I believe, back to where we came from.
Is that with
I'll just
avalanche?
shoot. Yes, but from the silence bubble.
So you get into the bubble and then you fire the explosive round. Okay,
Yes.
understood. You fire it back, and previously to which you've heard the echoing cascade, almost perhaps causing you to realize why this gun may be named so. Though not a sound is made as the shot impales and you see an explosion behind you, though through fog you just see the flash of light. A moment or two later, another red beam in the same location to the explosion. It passes. So Lothar, as you're in this bubble, coming within into your vision range, within 10 yards of you, you see, as you're mounted, at head height, a single spike moving rapidly. Another, another, and all of these are fixed to a long, thick, black-scaled tail you would discern, as it then immediately, just as fast as it entered your vision, whips out of sight.
We need to move.
No one can hear you. No sound can be
While
made in this bubble, though all of you
while that
get the indication of what Solothar is telling.
while this second
Yeah, we
fire
can.
breath is sort of hitting the location of the explosive shot, I will just wave my arm that we should move in the other direction.
Oh, I'm going to follow the lead dwarf.
Yep.
How many times can you cast silence?
I've got 2 more charges left.
Okay. You cast and leapfrog the silence, the zone. You all rush forward. Cast again. You rush forward. You're now about 100 feet ahead. As you realize you have no more casts, I would like one last, with advantage this time, stealth roll, please.
Oh my God. You just mean normal stealth roll.
Oh my god.
Well, you did say advantage.
Yeah. So the 24 should count.
So basically,
This is pretty
You take the
so
first roll.
fun.
the first
Take the
roll on
first
each of
roll.
these. So
Yeah.
with a 15, a 24, a 19, and a 13. Who says heavy armor doesn't come good every now and again in stealth checks? As
Yeah, so we
somehow,
waste like 3 spells.
as spent, not wasted, as somehow
Yes,
the party successfully negates the dragon in the mist encounter that I spent so long preparing for. However, the wonders of the story and the mystery of the dice continue as no more sound ends. Your party, do you make a dash for it, or are you moving stealthily as you exit your safety of your silence bubbles?
Let's
Oh,
keep it slow.
I'm legging it. Full just legging it. He's just like, I'm out. I've got no mana left. I'm running.
Okay. As Voldreth just darts on forward from the back of the group to the front of the group now. Is everyone going with him?
Nope, I'm
Yep.
running.
Okay.
I'm going
I'm
first.
out of mana. I can't cast
Super
anymore.
fast, super fast.
As the party
Oh.
beelines, a deafening
I will stay
roar.
behind.
No, you won't. A deafening roar can be
God damn
heard.
it.
Though, amusingly, another noise answers. No crack of thunder. Almost like a screeching echo. Though in the mist, none of you can distinguish what it is or its source, only that you know both roars are coming from behind you. As you make way down this valley as fast as your little legs and steed can carry you, the party spends the next hour making great pace, covering most of this basin. After a while, you once again hear a whoosh overhead, though it is a single pass. And that is all you hear for the rest of this evening's walk, as the sun begins to break the horizon and the mist begins to lay low. As the party makes its way to the original outcrop, the gap in the mountains at the beginning of the pass, to which you can overlook and see what you expected to be the remains of the previously recognizable few grassy greenlands and woodlands that are in this realm, still in existence, though now they stand as orchards of dead wood, smoldered, charred, and aged. The path before you shows the narrow, winding route back to, as you can now clearly see, the Golden Keep Citadel.
Are we now finally awake after crossing the border?
You're not in the back of a wagon, I'm afraid. Though you could say the title screen of Ashes of Alvon could now play after the prelude has been completed. So.
That's nice. I can picture it, you know, like that's the camera turning off and
Exactly.
Yeah.
the morning sky and
I just felt this hiding from the dragon was very much the introduction of Skyrim.
As
Honestly,
not Alduin.
I honestly hope not. I honestly hope not, because he comes back in Skyrim
and so
and meets a bunch of people.
as the party makes their way, I assume, back to the Citadel,
Yes, I would
I would
assume
say
so.
of note, as you approach from the northern border, when you get within sight, you can see the great keep walls, evidence of fire that's run rampant, though little damage done to the exterior, though the battlements, portcullis, and gatehouses, doors smashed wide open, though interestingly the doors are unhinged outwards. One door lies on the floor, another barely strung. A portcullis half laid asunder, half stuck in the air, the road itself tarnished, and all of the exterior, the grasslands, the warm comforting, all just sand now, or
The hell did this?
heavily dashed topsoil. As you approach the portcullis itself, the gatehouse open, and you can see inside a street that you would recognize previously that had been bustling with life and activity. Two guards that had been making humorous banana jokes about previously, not at their station. You can see no buildings standing. As you enter into what was the original promenade in the 5th tier of the Citadel. So Lothar, with one thing on your mind, you ride ahead of the group, I would assume.
Straight for the what used to be the house of fixing people's souls.
And as you approach, the only thing to denote your current location, other than memory, is the large fountain, itself now void of water, its stone bricks painted black. And you can see the frozen figure there, Pope Varney, the last of his name, with his arm out. The only thing that is standing before the House of Healing that is not there. The rest of the group catches up to you.
He's silent, frozen. And his jaw is locked so tight you'd swear his teeth would crack. Just staring at where the place was.
I'll turn to Foldrath. Are you regretting not getting on that airship now?
No, I got my axe. This is more of an adventure than I could dream for.
I can't blame you there.
What the hell was that thing?
A dragon, maybe? I'd rather not dwell on that too long.
After a few moments of silence, he turns back to the group and... Right.
Maybe
We
we
need to
can
figure...
learn something here about how long it's been.
We need to find a place that's still standing. If, and that's assuming, this entire citadel hasn't been abandoned completely.
Does this citadel have underground? Have an underground?
You wouldn't know, though, as you ask the party. I think Salothar would know that it's a euphemism, a terminology for there were places with basements that may or may not have had activities in that were not legal. Though as a defined underground, with the exception of the sewers, not really.
Is there anything left of the Adventurers Guild?
As you approach the small little courtyard, which was originally fenced off, half expecting or half hoping for warm smell of bacon or rasher, or hearing Gleeful sounds or just the day-to-day passers-by of a bustling city. The only thing still standing on the exterior is the small little stone billboard. The plinth in which it is built is standing, though the wood that was pinned to it has long been turned to ash. The building itself, with the exception of its foundations of where the kitchen was, those made out of stone, all the wood has gone.
Have you ever heard of anything that can do something like this to a city this big?
Well, we might have just passed it earlier today. Other than that,
You're thinking of the what?
ruination.
What was it called? Residium?
That is correct.
No.
Think somebody managed to weaponize it? Properly weaponize it?
Would that explain Meyerfall as well, though?
Wouldn't explain anything. What is there left to go to war over in this world?
I never
What is
understood
there
that
left to
part.
fight for?
All I
Is-
know is that this is not what Todd signed up for.
It isn't what anyone signed up for.
Well, according to Voldrath behind us, he seems to be having the time of his life.
Well, if he's as old as he is, pretty sure this. He saw the Battle of Ruination firsthand. Might have even met the last seneschal himself. There's laughter there, but it's almost fake and brittle. Like he's trying to force himself to laugh rather than actually laugh. Should we check on the keep? See if anything's standing there?
Yeah, we have nothing better to do.
I mean, if the keep's abandoned, and as abandoned as the rest of the city, we can assume somebody finally did displace in.
And what if it is abandoned? Then what?
Make our way north. Find another settlement.
Well, Meyerfall.
Past.
You want to
Marfall's
go through that
northeast.
valley again?
No, you're thinking northeast. I'm thinking northwest.
Right. Well, we can always end up trying to make our way to, what is it? Port Kiln.
There used to be a.
Hmm?
We can follow the old trade route to the Iron Dominion. If the trade route's still standing, and if we just, by some cruel joke of whatever gods are still left, we didn't walk out to be the last living sentient beings on this world.
Well, let's start with this keep of yours.
As the party makes the winding ascent through the multiple tiers, the artisan tier, a pile of ash, and just the same, with only the occasional stone remains and the stone walls, charred and stained, the only thing left standing. As you pass through gatehouse after gatehouse after gatehouse, all having been destroyed. And after enough times, you would discern that from the inside out, on every single one, that's how the doors have inferred they fell. As you round the cobbled steps and approach the last gatehouse leading to the upper tier, where the large city cathedral lies, next to the keep itself, the palace. The two most figure-headed prominent buildings, still standing though, both without their roofs. No stained glass that adorns the previously wonderful gauge and visage of the cathedral. The Gothic architecture now mostly eroded away. The keep itself in no fairer state. To which building do you choose to enter?
Which one will be the first in our path?
The path forks, literally. You would have
Okay.
either gone to the palace or the citadel from this point. Both
It's really
equidistant from
weird
where you
that
are.
it's really weird that all these gatehouses are broken outwards.
Is there any traces of explosions near those doors?
No individual
Any
traces that you could see. It's very hard to distinguish because there is a fire that touches all stone surfaces everywhere you've seen so far, both the inside and exterior parts of the same wall.
would the door hinges and maybe the I mean, assume the doors are made of wood partly. But would the any remaining hinges on the doors indicate a pressure build-up and release?
It's very hard to tell. You look at what you can from a still hanging set of doors, which is just mostly rotted and ashed wood itself, ready and fit to be the perfect charcoal tinder, though still just loftily hanging on by a thread. They don't seem to have given way.
Okay. I'll follow Lothar's direction.
Oh, we could check the cathedral first. The Golden One had some really fanatical priests. If there's anyone left in this godforsaken citadel, anyone insane enough to remain behind, we'd find him there.
Approaching the citadel, steadfast in an out of character move, refuses to step forward as you cross over the small little fork in the road that was previously a little bridge with a stream. Digs his heels in.
I nod and dismount and gently pat him. I'll be right back.
And his turn, as you look and turn, he's gone. As you approach the cathedral, the eeriness, as your footsteps begin to echo, and at this point it dawns on you. One thing you've seen absolutely no traces of so far, as you suddenly see on all the walls, the floor, charred silhouettes in humanoid shapes, littering almost every inch of this room. The Grand Cathedral itself. Whatever happened here was full to the brim when it went down. As you're stepping
This is
through
where
ashes and piles of dust of what you realize is probably cremation remains at this point. Trying not to kick up a dust.
Poor souls. They were probably hiding here.
It's probably where they head, yeah.
Would this place have any catacombs of sort?
You can make an investigation roll. as you're lining the exterior, the architecture of this room. You can see, as you're looking for them, any reason, a door, a hinge, something that would have given way, a secret passage maybe. But nothing catches your eye, though at the top of the altar, when the room facing out north, you can see as the sun pierces down and meets, illuminating the altar itself in its path rising. There is a figure standing behind the altar. Not a particularly tall, maybe 5'2", 5'3". Arms outstretched, with a strange, regal-looking hat upon his head. You would probably notice this looks more like a stone statue, though black in color, almost perfectly carved. Though the intricacy on the right hand, instead of a wonderfully smooth, human-esque shape, unscaled, unscarred, you have this decayed-looking, almost necrotic-looking hand, holding some kind of metallic object. As you scurry behind this, paying it no attention, looking for some kind of catacomb or underway, you complete your investigations and conclude, unfortunately, you don't think there are any secrets with the 15 to be found here.
I'm going to examine the corpses and try to figure out how old they look.
There are no corpses to speak. There is the statue figure, and there is ash. And the ash is charred onto surfaces.
Okay.
I will
So,
inspect
you
the
think that's
metallic object in the hand of statue.
Okay, it's firmly grasped by the necrotic-like hand. Do you attempt to pry it free, or are you just looking at it?
What does
I
it
will
look like?
first
It looks like a small, cylindrical, almost like scroll casing of some sort.
Okay.
you think that's actually him?
who
Gesture to the statue. Pope Varney himself. It makes no sense he'd flee. Do you think some manner of sorcery turned him into that?
I'm no magic expert, but that necrotic looking hand.
Just like in the legends. So wait, to be clear, are you saying that he's all statuesque except for the hand, which looks necrotic?
The
Or is
whole
it
thing
sculpted?
is it's as if it's sculpted with imperfections.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I feel like I'm in over my head here.
That's all right. I think everyone was. A voice says from behind you all, standing in the doorway.
I will immediately turn around
They're
and ready my
looking
gun.
they're looking towards the person.
A traveling cloak over a short individual removes the hood grey-looking skin, dark purple eyes, very gaunt-looking, though with what is noticeable as he pulls back his robes, revealing a belt full of adorned attachments, blades, small circular canisters, pulls out a small stick that looks very much like a wand. Uses it, seems to just sort of tap the stone sideway. I've been waiting for you lot, the figure says.
Of course.
You don't happen to be Todd, are you?
Todd.
I'll chuckle.
He reaches in to his armaments, pulls out a small little book, pulls through. Todd. No surname written here. Not in the diary, at least. Let's see, where are we? He seems to turn pages. Does the
Oh my
Feywild
God,
seem
who are
recent?
you?
Hmm?
Yeah.
I see. So
Who
we've
are
done the
you?
Feywild. Me? Oh, I'm nobody. Don't worry about me. I'm just trying to catch up to where we are. As he turned the pages, and he says, "How about the skyship?" Nope, not
What
been on that
scratch?
yet. Okay, spoilers. Sorry about that. Turns it back a few pages. Right. What's the last thing you remember? And he turns to you, Lothar.
The last thing I remember, I don't know, examining the statue of the glorious Pope Varney himself over there.
The glorious Pope. Found it. Thank you very much. God, that was a page turner. Right. Okay. Yes. Right. Oh, right. So you don't know about this. You don't know about that. Okay. Spoilers. 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 Fantastic. So he closes the book and then puts it in his bucket, in his lapel. You can call me Dan. Though for everyone here, I'm pretty certain we've already met. Though I'm not quite sure which way round this is. Is it you? And he's sort of clocking you all. Is this really our first time?
You sound as crazy as me.
Well, that's the last thing I said to you, so this must be your first time. Right, okay. He stands up, straightens up, walks over towards you, gives a low little bow. Dan, Gleeballs, at your service.
Wait, like in the children's line?
Well,
Dangling from the treetop, Dan, dangling from the treetop.
I'd imagine after living as long as I have and seen as many days, there are many things that have been said about me that are true, though climbing trees has never been my specialty.
Okay, so
And
what's next? The
you
last
remind
seneschal is
me
going to.
very much of that line. God, it's really weird when I know what you're going to say. I've got to say this. No, yes, and no. Can we just skip that? Good, great. Now, the thing is, I'd like to say, Ariel, she's doing fine. She misses you dearly, and she can't wait for you to come home. Voldreth, no, it's not every left turn. It's the one left turn that you didn't take. And you stop living your life by your nose. Focus on what goes in the belly.
You seem to. What year is this?
No, hang on. I got that last one wrong. And he pulls the book out and he says, right. Don't focus on the belly. No, wait. Which way did I say it? I've forgotten. I think what you wanted to tell yourself was live life by your cooking. I think it was that sense. Those were what you told me to tell yourself last time. So at least I've done my job. You can thank me later. Well, you've already thanked me, but you'll thank me later again.
You seem to know a lot about us, and I'm pretty sure you're going to fill us in on a bunch of details.
No,
But I
not
need
really.
to
I'm
ask,
about to leave actually, but I was just
is
talking
she
to you like a
alive?
few minutes ago. Ah, oh, her, right. What year is this?
Very good question. What year is this?
Oh, you don't know. Oh, well, then I've got no clue. Right. So, and obviously, depending on that, well, then I can't really answer your question. You know, we all die in the end.
Isn't this in your fancy pants book of yours?
Oh, no, we don't use that terminology. That's for a very special friend.
I want to try and take the book.
He's like holding this thing very firmly.
Let me get a look at the book.
I,
Come on,
I,
I'll trade you my book.
the
I want to
only
look at
the
yours.
only rule is no reading ahead. It's the only rule. Okay?
Oh,
That's a fair enough rule.
And he passes you the book.
So, what exactly happened here? What happened to this place?
Well, you should ask him. Points to the statue. He says, well, you do actually. Well, spoilers. Okay. When you ask him, he'll tell you.
I go and try and flick through the book and find that bit.
Well, what are you doing? How many pages do you turn? Like, you get the impression that when he sort of handed it to you, he'd recently thumbed to like sort of the first 15% of the book. How far do you go?
Read the first
Noticeably
15%
further.
of the book.
No, noticeably further in. Right. As you do, as you turn to the page, give me a perception check very quickly. On a 2.
Sick.
Oh my
A natural one.
A natural 1.
God.
You see, it's a little bit of a shame that you rolled a natural 1 because you'll think this is what's happened. This was going to happen regardless. The question was, how much are you going to read before this happens? Okay.
None. You read
The title says death. And that's the only thing you read before the page vanishes. The text disappears. As Dan looks at you and says, I told you, no reading ahead.
What did it say?
Death.
Well,
Oh.
there's several chapters called that, so that's not really helpful. But anyway.
I'm old anyway. I'm sure it's about me.
I wouldn't be surprised, your old casket.
As Dan taps his wand on the side of the doorway, and you can watch as he almost begins to draw a new door with his wand in the air. And after a moment or so, he completes his incantation and then taps on a conjured handle. And a fresh, perfect rendition of to those who had previously seen the original entryway to the cathedral of the Golden Keep. The door is restored, conjured from thin air before you, materializing in the realm before you, as Dan taps the handle and he opens the door outward. As the door opens, the first thing that fills your ears is the sound of livelihood, life. As you look back across the small little wooden path, the sun is beating down just as it has been all morning, though the grass is blowing in the breeze. You can see a small, figure-headed, of church robes individual having a conversation on the bridge itself with a what looks to be small figure very similar to the stone statue behind you. You can see the golden cloaks standing to their post at the keep, the gatehouse to this entry, to this tier. and various individuals who appear to be walking through the door into you, but as they pass through the doorway into where Dan would be stood, they dissipate. And individuals seemingly appear on the immediate side of this doorway, walking back down the small stone path. As Dan turns to you and says, I think this is the last time I have to correct your path. For now. It gets harder every time, so I try and ask you to not mess things up, and the staying on topic kind of helps, but oh, goodness me, you've met Hokus, haven't you?
Yes,
Yes, we have.
Right,
it's the
yes.
genie.
Tell him he owes me some years. The last bet, that was a farce. I won. I want them back. Well, when he comes and collects next week. Well, whenever he could. Well, spoilers.
Okay, so what in Torm's frozen breath in the wasteland are we supposed to do now?
God, do you know, I used to travel with someone just like you. Sometimes they really needed it spelling out. You're in the future. There is the past. Go make it your present.
And how do we put this future behind us?
Well, that's kind of why I'm here. I had to wait around a while because someone didn't put a date in the diary, But I'm here now, and you'll be there then. So, top two. He
That's
starts
going to
tapping
make
his foot.
just as much sense as everything else. Gentlemen, and Ariel.
Yes, I'm down.
I've had it with
I
these portals.
Well, this one's less of
hopefully
a
the next
portal.
one will take us somewhere nice.
This one's more like a wormhole, sending you back
Oh,
to fix the
great.
past.
Great, great, great. First a drake, then a worm, then a wormhole.
Oh, the Drake.
When does it end?
Oh, it'll be ancient by now. Interesting. Maybe I'll go take a look. Anyway, I'll be seeing you all tomorrow or yesterday. Anyway. And please don't make fun of me. I know you will. Just don't. Just one time. Just make the decision. Don't do it. He's pointing to you, Lothar.
Yeah. What's that between your legs?
I mean, that was obvious, but aha, it was my second wand, and he pulls out another sticker. Look, that's the 15th time you've done that to me. I after the third or fourth, I decided to make a comeback. It was just easier, right? What can I say? I can't keep this open forever. And you realize he's like muttering some finger movement behind his
He's
back.
quickly going to
Yep.
go through the portal. This future is horrible.
I will
Like
I
not,
will sort of nod at the statue from the what appears to be the Pope. You wouldn't mind, right?
Wouldn't mind what?
You wouldn't miss anything if I were to.
You've got 12 seconds before this closes. Do what you want. I can't open another one today.
I'll
Now
grab
for
the metal can. I'll grab the metal cannons then sort of
Make a
hop
strength
and
check.
skip towards the portal.
This is
Strength,
contested strength check.
A 20.
At 20.
Oh, that's a save. It's the same check. Is it? No. Subtract 3. 17.
17. Ooh, he rolled a 12. Okay. Snapping from the hand, taking 3 of the fingers that were still clasped around this container, you have this stone tube of a compartment with 3 fingers attached to it. As you, with your dwarven legs, cover the rest of the hallway, jump through
Wait for me!
the door as slamming behind you, catching you on the arse. Dan disappears from view as the door, as you look behind you, is wide open. Church bells are ringing, and the cathedral is filling up behind you. The board to your left denotes that it is Sunday, the day of service. With a confusing year. A year, for context to the players, that is 3 or 4 years prior to your original starting in the Golden Keep. You can hear the gentle murmurs of busy conversations whispering in the church behind you as Torbrun has fallen flat on his face, making the jump through from one realm to the other. Passage of time, ignoring, just catching him on the way out. A younger fair lady walking by stops and turns to you, Lothar. Looks at you curiously. She cocks her head, shakes it, walks on by.
Before
Do I
she walks
recognize her?
off,
You would recognize who she is, yes. She's the
Excuse
lady
me,
you were
miss?
looking for.
Miss?
She sort of turns and looks back at
Excuse
you.
me?
Yes,
Have we met before?
I think so. In passing, sort of. I recognize you, but you seem familiar.
When? When will...
I meet a lot of people. I'm not too sure.
Hmm. 3 to 4 years, you say, right?
Yep.
Okay. He means to say something, but just stops and apologies. I think I might have mistook you for somebody else.
No worries. If you don't mind, I've got a newborn I've got to get back to.
What's his name?
She sort of looks you up and down, thinks twice. Well, Talva. She walks on by.
Oh, may Tom's name ever watch over young Talvar.
before she walks off, I will sort of lift my head off the ground. Like, lady, before you go, would you happen to know what the date is today?
Yeah, though I can't read it. I believe it's on the board.
Appreciate it. And I'll just lie back down, just catching my breath after yet another portal.
At this point, you're sort of causing a little bit of a ruckus as there's a few people trying to leave the church behind you, some trying to enter as you sort of stand up and make your way sparse. Though you find yourself in the upper tier of the Golden Keep Citadel in the middle of the day.
We might as well remove ourselves from the big, obvious entrance to the keep. So, what were 3 to 4 years prior?
Prior to the burning or prior to when we left?
Prior to when we started this whole, prior to when we even met.
We know about a lot of destruction that's going to take place in this city, so it seems we are tasked to save it.
My head feels like it's growing another head inside right now.
We have time, if that's any comfort.
No, let me get this straight.
That's the
So,
whole point.
We went into the Fae, met a Jinn, got older, went further
came up,
into the past, which means we've
no,
got older again.
we went into the future. We came back out into the future. And then we met a figure from folklore back in the Iron Dominion
Legend, Gloria.
that made absolutely no sense whatsoever, who sent us back 4 years before we even met.
He was terribly jolly, all things considered.
Um, he was, if you know, if we ever make it to the Iron Dominion, I'm going to hire a bard so he can sing you all the songs.
Oh, this better be some sort of elaborate play.
There's one where he deliberately sounds insane, and he sounds saner there than he did with us. Frickin' dangling from the tree balls.
As I get up, I realize that I grabbed that stone canister.
Mhm.
Is that still with me?
It's cold to the touch, very much still present.
I would like to see if I can open it.
How do you open stone?
It's a canister. Does it have like a wider side indicating a cap of some sort?
It does, yeah. The
Hmm.
top end protruding, not connected to where the fingers are. At the other end.
Voldurat, do you still have that pickaxe of yours?
Aye.
You like to do some careful mining.
Wait, if that's been turned to stone, you might just break it irreversibly.
Wow,
Wouldn't it
that's
be
what
easier to find some finger waggler to turn it back to wherever it was initially?
I recommend you hold on to that because it can be important to have items from certain planes when you're trying to shift to them.
You know,
don't
contrary
need.
to
But what
what
if
you
it has
dwarves are.
something inside of it?
Yeah, but contrary to what you dwarves are taught when you're smaller dwarves, pickaxes don't solve absolutely every problem.
But they solve most.
Uh, so do swords.
Well, I've yet to see a sword carved through stone.
You just, it just needs to be big enough. But yeah, where to next?
Can I help all of you? As you turn and a figure in robes, very much looking like one of the priesthood, seems to be eyeing you, confused, as your very apparel is still dust-ridden, unkept, a little bit damp still. You do not look like you've turned up to Sunday church intentionally, compared to everybody else.
Well,
Uh,
you mentioned it. Do you know if you or someone you know is capable of turning something that wasn't originally stone, but was turned to stone to turn it back into not being stone?
A furnace would probably do that, yeah. Although I'm no scientist, or alchemist, or blacksmith.
A furnace seems kind of destructive.
um,
Is there any blessings you would wish to partake in today?
if you have one for sanity on hand, that would be lovely.
If you pay the tithe, you are always welcome in. As he gestures towards the cathedral, gives a low bow.
So, gentlemen, where to now?
Well, since you guys are so keen on not destroying this canister, we can we might as well try and find someone who can help us to turn it back into what it was.
Might as well start at the Adventurers Guild. So, do you think there's other versions of us running around?
What did you do 3 or 4 years ago,
Absolutely the same thing.
but somewhere else?
I remember being here a few years ago, can't exactly pinpoint where. I mean, how many years ago. I used to drink a lot more, and days blurred together a lot. And remember when I told you that, those blessed by Torm find it difficult to get drunk.
Yeah.
I drank a lot. A lot.
Mm.
It's where most of my coin went.
I was in the Fey realms. I haven't been in the material plane for that long. I don't know if there's another me in the Fey realms now. Maybe there is. Would make sense. I wonder if you can create duplicates of yourself traveling through time. What is this time magic anyway? And how did that jolly fellow get to harness it like that? Like, for the fairies, time magic is, I would say, almost common, but at the same time, it's so hard to make sense of it. He just sent us exactly where he wanted to take us. That's hard, even for fairies.
Did he, though?
I think so. Look at the city, it's bustling and good.
Mm-hmm.
You can warn people. We
Of
should
what?
warn people
Of what?
that there
What?
that there will be. We can do a prophecy.
Do
Why
you
not?
know? Do you know how many doomsayers there are in this city?
Yeah,
There's at least one apocalypse that has come and gone so far.
I see. Well, it still seems like it would be helpful for them to know that there will be
Mm.
something that will come after the whole city. Maybe we should tell the man in charge.
Go see. Yeah. Good luck getting an audience with the golden one. Ah, Tulum's holy name. Yeah, why not? Makes just as much sense as anything.
So are you
Voldrath, do you
going?
still have that book of yours?
I've got my book. He took his book. Bastard.
Would Lothar know if Varney holds his own sermons on Sundays?
Varney does hold his own sermons on Sundays. However, Voldreth, as you pat yourself down where your book was, in the pages is a copy of the diary you were holding because you never gave it back.
What is that? What is that you're holding?
A recipe for insanity.
It's the death book.
The death book.
Not copyright infringement.
It's the
Let's have a look here, see if the pages are. No, still says death.
the
Death
ch-
book.
the book itself is blank and nameless. Though on the very first page, diary, thoughts, ramblings, and memoirs of Sir Lothar. And it has a year dated 50 years from now.
I don't want to see it.
Why not?
I can see it. I believe it also says death.
I have a
Started
crazy
backwards,
idea. Let's find a page that's relevant to now.
As you're thumbing
So I
your
scanned
way
the
Open
book.
through,
to today.
as you're
I-
thumbing through the book, there's just blank pages, blank pages, blank pages, blank pages, and even to where you had previously seen text in the earlier part, those pages now become blank. However, in the first 5 pages of this book, it says just a note in the footnote: a day once more, not proud of. Though originally I had signed up to the Adventurers Guild, it was only because they had a 50% discount on ale for members.
I think you should
I
take
don't.
it. I think you
This
should take
page
it.
will do.
I
Where's the
think you should
bug
write
on the
in it.
floor? Can I see if I see a bug on the floor?
Sure. A small insectoid running around as Voldreth is chasing after it.
I'm gonna name you Dwight. And I'm going to take a quill and write Dwight the bug in the book.
Okay.
Right, so the world makes
I'll keep my
absolutely no
eye on you.
sense. So shall we attend this Sunday's fine sermon of the Golden One? We are kindly reminded to pay our taxes and die.
Oh, we used to pay taxes.
Varney Pope Varney the Great, and the Golden holds his sermons personally. That one really likes the sound of his voice.
That crazy one that was with the Wolf Guard, and the righteous paladin, and this crazy bastard called Fish.
Goldfish.
Goldfish.
Pretty sure the last seneschal didn't have a goldfish.
Oh, he called himself Fish. Goldfish. He was mental. I swear he killed everyone he saw.
Ah. Reminds me
At
of
least the
someone.
stories. Hey, what do you mean?
Reminds me of somebody I used to know back from when I was part of the order back home. So shall we, gentlemen? Before the sermon's over, I don't want to miss the part about giving all my gold away.
Okay.
Very well.
Ariel?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Well, let's sit to the sermon.
Okay. As you enter in, you find a pew, you sit down and take a seat. After about 20 minutes or so, the organ flares into life as the sermon begins, as the assembly stands and without a hymn sheet begin to sing what you recognize is obviously a memorized tune. It goes on about those devoted to coin, devoted to cloth, devoted to life, and love themselves not. Give to others, give to all, and be one as a community, and all will prosper. And at that point, the song comes to an end, the hymn completes, as a non-stone like, though almost completely matching individual stands atop the altar as Pope Varney, the last of his name, greets you all a welcoming with a slight cast of his hand as a minor illusion and thaumaturgy as he boosts the volume of his voice to echo throughout the church. And in 3.1 surround sound, you get the wonderful renditions of a tale as old as time, or at least as he says, of one of the adventures he went on. And the moral of the story was that you should never judge a fish by how far it can climb a tree.
Fish don't climb trees.
As the message was missed by some in attendance, understood by many, the sermon comes to a close with another hymn, though one with more an ode to the great golden one who watches over us all, gives his blessing by the day, in response to us by paying the coin. As a small canister goes round the room, each member passing without exception one golden school piece into the receptacle. As at the back of the pew, you are all sat, you have some time before this makes its way to you. Do you all wish to contribute, or do you wish to slunk out, as you realize the doors are still wide open?
Oh, we're here to talk to the man, aren't we?
Doesn't look like I have any gold on my name.
I give you a gold.
I can donate one.
Is it a golden skull coin?
What? A gold piece.
Lothar looks in his pouch through the Iron Dominion crowns, and
You would have some though from previous bounties, so
yeah,
because you've been here, so that's fine.
he
So,
fishes one. I hope this one wasn't minted 2 years from now.
yes, future inflation piece. As the basket comes round, you pay your donations collectively, provided by those who have the coin. As you realize the basket itself is floating, and eventually, after it reaches the last pew, soars up and soars straight back to Varney over the heads of everyone in the chamber. This is a completely normal phenomenon and nothing to be particularly observed by the general attitudes of the individuals here. As Varney counts, taps it, you see he pauses as he mutters a small incantation and says, "And as always, a full, unanimous contribution once more. The Golden One thanks you all, and please, may your day be blessed."
At this point, I gesture to the party to stand up and make our way as least threateningly as possible.
As a mixture of individuals who are stepping and loitering towards the front, most of the people are making their way out, exiting the building behind you. You can see Varney and one or two other priests are taking questions, fielding concerns. Though Varney himself finishes with an individual and turns to an aide behind him as the last pair, a young and older looking individual, a young woman with an older looking individual step forward, mentions something about, hoping to make sure that his daughter finds the right person and he's not too sure about the marriage that's been arranged for her. The priest is condoling him and offering words of wisdom and insight and trying to explain what opportunities he may have. As Varney finishes and turns, he sort of clock eyes with you and he makes himself available for your questions.
Pope Varney, last of his name, my lord.
He bows his
What I
head.
am about to tell, what I am, we actually, not me, what we are about to tell you makes absolutely no sense to our own mind as well.
Oh,
Mine at least.
don't tell me you've forgotten where you've come from. Really,
No, we know
I
exactly.
do not need another drunkard story this morning.
What about a story that involves a group of mercenaries contracted to go into the Feywilds 4 years from now, that by some luck of draw or design emerge into a timeline not their own, to see the citadel and everything else around it reduced to cinders for the most part?
He looks at you and he says, "I'd say you're either drunk or you're raving mad."
I wish one of those two were
Yes,
likelier than the
simple
possibility I come
enough.
with.
He sort of casts his hand into a small pouch, pulls out a very small ingredient, grinds it to a powder, sprinkles it over you, and says, "You are blessed. Your ailments are removed. Please go about your day.
What if we
Enjoy."
say that we've been sent by Dan Gleeballs himself back in time for some god's forsaken reason?
Really?
Hmm. Yeah, short bloke, pointy hat. Makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. Are you gonna have anything tangible to not waste my time, as there are still people behind you? With all due respect, sir.
Torbran?
I will present him the stone canister. I believe I acquired this from your very dead hands 4 years
Um,
from now.
Make a
More like
persuasion roll with
petrified.
advantage.
Can I help?
You've given advantage.
Okay.
Persuasion. 17.
He seems to stop paying attention to Salothar and looks at the canister you've brought him. You took this from my hand.
Supposedly, you were standing. Whoever I took this from was standing in exactly the same place as you are, in a church burned down, turned to stone.
When he takes the container in his left hand and then he holds it in his right, you watch as his wonderfully perfect, youthful looking skin on his right hand immediately withers away into a decayed right hand flesh. After seemingly noticing that, he removes his right hand and it immediately turns to its youthful looks. Holds it and strokes his chin. You can see he has very small billy goat gruff that he's very hard trying to work on. As he strokes his chin. Interesting. How much to buy this from you?
Oh, that's not for sale. You
Please.
seem very.
You're in the Golden Keep. Everything is for sale. And to be honest, if you just took this from my hand and he examines the sort of fingertips on the end of it, then technically this is theft if you do not return it to me. So you could either have
Well,
my good graces of coin, or you could be arrested and thrown in jail.
technically, I'd just be a crazy drunk person holding a stone canister.
Which I'm
Your
somewhat
words.
believing, like your friend is here, though he should be cleansed. And he casts a spell once again over you, Lothar.
I've been drunk. It's not that.
What exactly is this canister?
I don't know,
And
but
what
if you pulled it from my hand, I very much would like to see its purpose.
I would like to make an insight check on that,
Go
because
ahead.
that right hand, a 13.
13? He's very hard to read.
Hmm.
For a character you've never interacted with before, in a scenario where you get the sense that he's not really buying your full story, but he is interested in this object. But other than that, you're not getting an inclination.
So we only ask that you hear us out. If we've been sent back to avert whatever fate befalls this place, or there's somebody I care about who doesn't know me yet, or does she? Anyway, just hear our story. Perhaps that's going to help avert this whole thing.
Well, I've just heard your story, have I not?
Not all of it.
You're from the future, bringing me something that I was holding at the time, and now you're telling me this. Why? That's the only thing you haven't told me.
This canister seemed to
Just
be.
one moment. Baldric, would you mind seeing to the rest? I have something that's come up that needs my attention here. And the rest who are queued behind you pilfer off, and seems to have bought you a little bit more time than he was intentionally going to give you.
We're
This
telling you this on the off chance that we could avert whatever is to befall this place
I
whenever
see.
it's supposed to happen.
Hmm. And you, dwarf?
this canister seemed to have been the last thing you chose to hold before you perished, with that same hand, even though turned to stone, had a similar look as to what just happened to your right hand. I may be a dwarf, but I'm not a fool.
No, a simple glam is easy enough to conjure as he turns you to the side and takes you over to the corner and says, "You seem to be of more inquisitive nature and see no harm in revealing, though it's uneasy on the eye for many." As he drops the illusion around his hand and you see an undead hand affixed to his wrist.
What exactly is this canister for it to turn your hand back to that?
This, I don't know. Um, because I would presume it's this, and this is what's confusing. And he pulls out of his robe a complete leather replica of the stone canister that you've presented him with.
And what is this supposed to be?
This is my session notes. Pops the lid off, just unscrews. Small scroll parchment comes out.
So that's what you chose to hold when this place turned to whatever it turned into.
These are just simply words or guidance, usually sort of when you get old, well, in fact, apologies here, I may be making some assumptions that I'm the oldest one in present. Though perhaps you'll vindicate me. When we get old, some spells are a bit more complicated, and they don't roll off the tongue as easily, and, we just write them down on a scroll. Just to read. It's easier.
So whatever's inside this canister may contain a spell written on the scroll.
Or an incantation, or instructions. Or just my session notes.
Well,
Though I am very perplexed as to the validity of your story. This is indeed mine, though I haven't yet lost it.
Or
And
had
you
to turn to
profess to
stone, I assume.
be from the future, and you've chosen the folk demon law of dangly balls. I'm going to offer you
Ariel,
this. I'm taking back my scroll. I'm going to have you handsomely rewarded, and you're not going to tell anyone about this. How does that sound?
well, nobody would believe us anyway. But you barely do. Ariel,
Something.
what was
on
Yeah.
that substance called? The one that they were mining in the Feywild?
Uh, Residium, you mean?
Have you heard of Residium, Your Grace?
Make an insight check. I need to get his sheet back up. Give me a second. Anyone who's attempting to cold read him can make an insight check on this.
sure.
Oh no.
That's not happening.
No.
14, 5, 4, and 9.
Oh,
Oh,
damn
well.
it.
As he looks at you. Residium? Yes, I sort of remember that.
Do you have any of your men mining it?
Mining? No
Straight from
idea
the
how to
Feywild?
mine it. The last time I heard of that was nearly 100 years ago.
What do you know of a town called Meyerfall just north of here?
We are the northernmost settlement. There is no town north of here.
Not even a small mining community?
Not under my knowledge. Derek, you can see a gold cloak walks on over. In very ceremonial robes, though you can hear the heavy footfalls of chainmail underneath, clanking away as he stands proudly and sort of barges between you, gives a low bow. My lord! Derek, are there any settlements north of here? Not to my knowledge, my lord. Right. Nothing called Meyerfall? No, my lord, I've not heard that name before.
Do you have
So,
any servants called Halfus?
Is there anyone on the payroll by that name? I'd have to check, my lord, but it doesn't ring a bell. Go on then. Please look. Right. Okay. Where will you be when I've probably in my study? Right. Very well, my lord. As you can see, there's no town north of here by such a name, and no name rings my bell, and quite a few things wrestle up here in the grey matter for me. Though a name like that I have come across once, though not in a very long time.
Well, there will be one at one point.
Well, I have
It
to
might be
say,
best if there weren't one.
my apologies. I was speaking over you.
I just meant to say it might be best if there weren't one. It's a operation that is very dangerous for the people who engage in it, and it's unwise to try to mine from the Feywild. There are lots of creatures in the Feywild that would not want their territories taken that way.
Understood. Okay. Well, I would like to thank all of you for bringing this to my attention, and I bid you all a fruitful day of rest.
Uh, 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 I
Well, that's
regarding
our
the
warning.
canister, I would like to know what's inside of it.
Well, I'm sure you would, as do I. Though it's probably going to be personal, so I'd like to check it first.
Well,
As
since
it is
we've
mine, of
established
course. So you
you
say.
have clearly not lost what you presume to be yours. This is still mine.
Well, I can see here,
You
and he
offer
sort of
to
turns
buy
to
it.
the canister upside down, and you can see underneath where the fingertips are still latched onto it. You can see there is a filigree of a symbol. As he turns both of them upside down to face you, you can see that the same marking, a household marking, perfectly matching. He says, "There can be no doubt, this is indeed mine. Both of these are mine, and both are the same thing. This is both intriguing, distressing, and concerning for me."
As it's supposed to be, Your Grace. What we have seen this city reduced to. No amount of weapons of siegecraft that we have right now could even dream of scratching the Golden Keep. Yet it was reduced to not even rubble. People were reduced to ashes and shades on the wall, Your Grace.
I, I appreciate your insight, but I do have places to be, I'm afraid, today. So, Derek, would you mind escorting this troop of wonderful? I believe, shall we say, 20 gold pieces ahead as a thank you for returning my lost possession. Very well, Derek. Please make it so. Thank you.
Oh man.
As Varney exits out of one of the side doors, you are finding yourself involuntarily escorted, with Derek leading several armed guards out of this cathedral. It says, "This way with you, please, if you wouldn't mind." And he takes you to the citadel itself. He is waved in by the guards, and you enter into a large, towering welcome room with two desks at the front manned by attendees, one with a huge scribe stack of notes and paperwork and parchments and quills galore and inkwells. Another on the other side, you can see a magical scroll seemingly scribbling down the footfalls of each individual as it walks in. As Derek enters and says, "Derek 2 right," and in turn, each of the guards give their name as they enter. Upon realizing you have not provided yours, he stops and says, "Please state your name for the register." He points to the desk with the quill that is magically enchanted.
So Lothar,
So Lothar, how's that spelt?
Loathar.
Great, thank you. Next, you, the dwarf, the younger
Gentleman.
one.
Or Britain.
Surname?
Ironhammer.
And you, older dwarf.
Vodred Smelthead.
And you, my lady.
Ariel? Ariel.
Ariel. Very well. Yes, if I may deposit 20, withdrawal of 20 gold crowns, each for the individuals listed here. Coffers needs to be updated and checked and signed, approved by Lord Varney Pope himself, yada, yada, yada. I hereby agree. Derek, yes, thank you. And you watch as he's saying this, another parchment is producing and writing down, and a paperwork is made available for him on the table. He picks it up, reads it. Well, the enchantment's getting better. They spelled my name right this time, at least. Hands it to you, Lothar. He says, "You can take this down to the bank. They'll pay you."
I guess thank you very much. Well, at least the profits are getting paid this time.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Ah, inside joke.
I see. Right. Move on.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that canister was worth a lot more than what we were just given.
a whole lot more, but there was not. Look, if it helped him at least get suspicious about whatever is in motion to bring about what we saw, it was a worthy trade.
As you make your
Yeah. I
way
agree.
down through the portcullis to the open gatehouse, the gold cloaks let you through unquestioningly. As you make your way down into the second tier, sort of your own knowledge and experience, Lothar, you know the bank is located here on this second tier. You don't have fond memories of visiting it. You've never really gone with large coin purse to deposit, nor large check to withdraw, or cash. You've come to the realization that there was something to remember about this day. And it's only dawned on you as you approach the bank. You hear loud, angry voices, raised voices, as two guards are dragging an individual in plate armor who is effing and jeffing and screaming at the top of his lungs. "What do you mean? I was told this was going to be good. What are you, absolute good for nothing? I won that bet fair and square. He told me it was going to be." As the rest of you see a slightly younger looking, not so Sir Lothar, being dragged unceremoniously from the bank, clearly drunk, and thrown to the side gutter. As he heeds you no mind, ass over tea kettle. As we'll end tonight's session there.